Welcome back for another deep dive. Today, we're going to be cracking open TSMC's world.
Ooh.
That's the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, right?
Yeah, the big one.
The big one. You sent over their latest financial reports and the transcript from their recent earnings call.
Mm.
And what I'm really curious about is TSMC really like the indicator of where tech's headed? Like, especially with all this AI buzz lately.
I think so, yeah. It's fascinating, isn't it? TSMC's performance is like a window into the future of the entire tech landscape.
Right.
Their wins and losses, especially their moves in AI, can really tell a story about the bigger trends shaping our devices and, well, everything tech touches, really.
Okay, so let's get into it. TSMC just posted like a record-breaking Q4 and full year 2024,
Yeah.
raking in a massive $90.08 billion in revenue.
Yeah.
That's a 30% jump year over year.
Huge.
They're outpacing the whole foundry industry.
Yeah.
But is this all just hype, or is there something more substantial driving this growth?
Well, what's intriguing here is that it's not just growth for growth's sake.
Right. A huge chunk of that revenue, and this is where it gets really interesting, is tied directly to artificial intelligence.
Okay.
Their AI-related revenue actually tripled in 2024.
Tripled. Wow.
Yeah.
So they're not just riding the AI wave, they're practically steering the ship.
Pretty much, yeah.
But AI is a pretty broad term.
Right.
Can we get a bit more specific about what's driving this growth within AI? What exactly are they making that's selling like hotcakes?
Well, think about the heavy lifting in AI, things like machine learning and deep learning.
Okay.
Those processes need serious horsepower, and that's where TSMC comes in. They're making AI accelerators, the specialized chips that make all those AI tasks possible.
Okay, for someone like me who's more familiar with like apps than actual chips,
Yeah.
could you break down these AI accelerators a bit more?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Imagine you're playing a graphics-heavy video game.
Yeah.
Your computer's GPU or graphics processing unit
Yeah.
is working hard to render those visuals smoothly.
Mm.
Now take that same kind of processing power and apply it to AI tasks.
That's what these AI accelerators do. They're the brains behind things like self-driving cars, facial recognition, even those personalized ads that seem to know you better than you know yourself.
Right.
And TSMC is becoming the go-to manufacturer for these specialized AI chips.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So they're not just making any chips, they're making the chips that are powering the AI revolution.
Exactly.
No wonder their revenue is skyrocketing.
Yeah, and they're predicting AI-related revenue to double again in 2025.
Oh, wow.
And it's projected to reach a substantial portion of their total revenue. They're forecasting a compound annual growth rate, or CAGR, of over 40% for these AI accelerators over the next 5 years. That's a huge bet on the future of AI.
That is a big bet.
Yeah.
But TSMC seems to be putting their money where their mouth is.
Yeah.
They've announced massive capital expenditure plans, somewhere between $38 billion and $42 billion
Wow.
for 2025. And a big chunk of that is going towards advanced process technologies, specifically for things like expanding their 3-nanometer capacity and building new 2-nanometer fabs.
Wow. That's right. But before we jump ahead, it's important to understand what those numbers actually mean. In chip manufacturing, stands for nanometers,
Okay.
which is a measure of the size of the transistors on a chip. The smaller the nanometer process, the more transistors you can pack onto a chip, leading to better performance and energy efficiency.
So in simple terms, they're making chips with smaller and smaller parts.
Exactly.
Which means those chips can do more and use less power. That's pretty impressive.
It is.
But why is this investment in smaller chips so crucial for AI?
Think of it this way. The more transistors you have on a chip, the more complex calculations it can handle, and AI requires a lot of processing power. These smaller nodes, like 3-nanometer and 2-nanometer, allow TSMC to create chips that are specifically designed to handle the complex computations required for AI applications. And that's why they're pouring billions into these advanced manufacturing facilities.
So it's all connected. The AI boom fuels the demand for these powerful AI chips, which requires TSMC to invest heavily in these advanced, smaller nanometer manufacturing processes.
Right.
It's like a chain reaction of innovation.
Exactly. But it's not just about building more and smaller chips. It's also about where they're building them.
Okay.
TSMC is expanding globally, setting up shop in places like Arizona and Kumamoto in Japan. And they're even considering a fab in Dresden, Germany.
It seems like every chip maker is trying to expand their manufacturing locations these days. It can't just be being closer to customers, right?
No.
What's the bigger picture here?
You're right. It's more strategic than that. Remember those geopolitical tensions we talked about earlier?
Oh, yeah.
The U.S.-China dynamic is a major factor.
So TSMC is caught in the middle of this global power play.
Kinda, yeah.
How are they navigating that?
Well, they're trying to walk a tightrope. By setting up fabs in different countries, they're diversifying their risk
Uh,
and trying to stay neutral in this tug of war. It's like they're trying to be the Switzerland of the chip world.
Right.
But it's not without its challenges.
it sounds like a delicate balancing act trying to keep everyone happy
Yeah.
while also protecting their own interests.
Right.
But this global expansion comes at a cost, right?
You're absolutely right. TSMC has projected a margin dilution of
Yeah.
about 2 to 3% annually over the next 5 years. Setting up these overseas fabs is expensive, and that's
Yeah.
going to impact their bottom line.
That's a pretty significant hit. Are they confident they can manage these costs without compromising their competitive edge?
It's a gamble for sure. They're betting that the benefits of diversification, both in terms of risk management and access to new markets, will outweigh the added costs. Only time will tell if this strategy pays off.
It's like they're playing a high-stakes game of chess, trying to anticipate their opponent's moves while also planning for the long game.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
But speaking of cost, there's a specific technology
Mhm.
that's both in high demand and facing capacity constraints. It's called CoWoS, and it seems to be crucial for AI applications. Can you unpack that for us?
Sure. CAWA stands for chip on wafer on substrate.
Okay.
It's a highly advanced packaging technique that allows them to stack multiple chips together, almost like building a high-tech skyscraper.
So it's not just about making powerful chips, but also about how you package them to get the most bang for your buck.
Precisely. And CAWAs is becoming essential for AI, especially in data centers where space and power efficiency are critical.
Yeah.
But the demand is outstripping supply, and that's creating a bottleneck for TSMC.
So even with their massive investments, they're still struggling to keep up with the demand for this CoWoS technology.
They are, yeah. It's a hot commodity.
It seems like everyone wants a piece of the AI pie.
Yeah, everyone wants in on the action.
But TSMC isn't putting all their eggs in one basket, are they?
Nope.
What about other packaging technologies on the horizon?
You're right. They're always innovating. They're also working on something called SOAS, or System on Integrated Chips. This technology has the potential to revolutionize smartphones and PCs down the line. It's all about finding new ways to cram more power and performance into increasingly smaller devices.
So it's a constant race to miniaturize while maximizing performance.
It is. It's a never-ending challenge.
That sounds like a pretty exciting field to be in.
It is. It's really at the forefront of innovation.
But with all this talk about cutting-edge tech,
Right.
what's the overall long-term outlook for TSMC? Are they expecting this growth to continue?
Well, their projections are pretty impressive. They're forecasting a compound annual growth rate, or CAGR, of around 20% in US dollars.
Wow, 20% year after year.
Yeah.
That's a pretty bold prediction.
It is, but they seem confident.
What makes them so confident about their future prospects?
Well, they have a few aces up their sleeve. They're rolling out some groundbreaking new technologies like N2, N2P, and A16.
All right, those are some serious alphabet soup acronyms.
I know.
Can you decode those for us? What's so special about these new technologies?
Think of them as the next generation of chip making.
Right.
N2 is their 2-nanometer process technology. It's a significant leap forward from their current 3-nanometer process, offering a big boost in speed and power efficiency.
So even smaller,
Yeah,
even faster,
Yeah.
even more efficient.
you got it.
It sounds like they're pushing the limits of what's physically possible.
They are. It's pretty mind-blowing.
And NTP takes it a step further.
It does, yeah.
It's an enhanced version of N2, squeezing even more performance out of those tiny transistors.
Exactly.
Okay, so N2 and N2P are all about maximizing performance at the smallest scale.
Right.
But what about A16? What's its claim to fame?
A16 introduces something called Super Power Rail, or SPR.
Okay.
It's a completely new way of delivering power to the chip from the backside. This allows for even greater performance gains while keeping energy consumption in check.
It sounds like TSMC is pulling out all the stops to stay ahead of the innovation curve.
They are. They're really pushing the envelope.
But they're not doing this alone, are they?
No, they're not.
Who are they collaborating with to bring these technologies to life?
That's the really exciting part. Pretty much every major player in the tech world, from the big names, to the cutting-edge startups, they're all working with TSMC to develop their next-generation chips.
It sounds like TSMC is not just riding the wave of the future, they're actually building the surfboard.
I like that analogy.
Their success story is really remarkable. But we've talked a lot about numbers and technology.
Yeah.
Let's take a moment to reflect on the bigger picture. We touched upon the geopolitical risks earlier, with TSMC being based in Taiwan.
Right.
How do those uncertainties factor into their long-term strategy?
It's a constant consideration, that's for sure. The situation between China and Taiwan adds a layer of complexity and risk that can't be ignored.
Right. There's always the possibility of China attempting to exert more control over Taiwan, which could disrupt TSMC's operations and send shockwaves throughout the global tech industry.
Exactly. And that's why their global expansion is so critical. By diversifying their manufacturing footprint, they're creating a safety net, reducing their reliance on any single location.
So it's not just about chasing profits, it's also about ensuring stability and resilience in the face of potential geopolitical shock.
Absolutely. They're trying to create a more balanced and secure future for themselves and their customers. But even with these diversification efforts, Taiwan remains their heart and soul. Any disruption there would have a significant impact.
It's a stark reminder that even in the world of cutting-edge technology, real-world politics can play a defining role.
It can. It's a reality they have to contend with.
But let's shift gears for a moment and talk about something a bit more positive. TSMC isn't just focused on profits and technology. They also have a strong commitment to sustainability, right?
You're right. They've been quite proactive in reducing their environmental impact and promoting responsible practices.
So what are they doing specifically to address these concerns? Are they just paying lip service to sustainability, or are they making real changes?
They're walking the walk. They've set ambitious goals for reducing their carbon footprint, conserving water, and minimizing waste. They're not just talking about it.
Right.
They're investing in real solutions.
That's good to hear. It's easy for companies to talk about sustainability.
Yeah.
But it's another thing to actually implement meaningful changes.
It is. It takes commitment.
And it's not just about the environment. They're also focused on social responsibility, working to create a more inclusive and diverse workforce.
That's right. They're trying to make a positive impact on all fronts.
It's refreshing to see a company of TSMC's stature taking these issues seriously.
Right.
It shows that you can be a leader in technology and still be a responsible global citizen.
Absolutely. It sets a good example for the entire industry and shows that sustainability and profitability can go hand in hand.
It's a reminder that true success isn't just about the bottom line. It's about making a positive impact on the world around us.
Well said.
But let's not forget the human element behind all this innovation.
Right.
TSMC is known for attracting and retaining top talent in the semiconductor industry, right?
They are, yeah. They've got some of the best minds in the business.
What's their secret?
They've created a culture that values expertise and fosters innovation. They invest heavily in training and development programs, making sure their employees are equipped with the latest knowledge and skills.
So it's not just about having the best technology, it's also about having the best people.
Exactly.
To design, build, and operate that technology.
Precisely. They understand that their people are their most valuable asset.
It's a good reminder that behind every technological marvel, there's a team of dedicated individuals who make it all possible.
Couldn't agree more. It's a collaborative effort.
We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive into TSMC.
We have.
From their financial performance to their global expansion, their sustainability efforts, and the importance of their people. But there's one more crucial aspect of their story that we need to highlight: their unwavering commitment to research and development. They consistently pour a significant portion of their revenue back into R&D, right?
They do, yeah.
It seems like they're always pushing the boundaries of what's possible in chip making.
Absolutely. TSMC understands that to stay ahead in this game, you can't just rely on your current success. You have to constantly be looking ahead, exploring new materials, developing new manufacturing processes, creating new chip architectures. That's how they fuel the next generation of devices we'll all be using.
So it's not just about making incremental improvements. It's about fundamental research that can lead to completely new breakthroughs.
Precisely. It's a long-term vision that requires patience and a deep belief in the power of technology to shape the future. And that commitment to pushing the limits is what sets them apart.
It's inspiring to see a company that isn't content to rest on its laurels, that's always striving to innovate and create something truly new.
Yeah.
It's a lesson for any company, really.
It is. TSMC's R&D efforts aren't just about building better chips. They're about building a better future. Right. A future powered by increasingly sophisticated and powerful technology.
You know, as we wrap up this deep dive into TSMC, I can't help but think their journey is a reflection of the entire tech world. It's a world where innovation is relentless,
Yeah,
competition is fierce,
it is.
and the stakes are incredibly high.
Couldn't agree more. Their story highlights that to thrive in this environment, you need a mix of technical brilliance,
Uh-huh.
strategic foresight, and a willingness to adapt to a constantly changing landscape.
And they've also shown that financial success and making a positive impact on the world don't have to be mutually exclusive.
Mm.
Their commitment to sustainability,
Right.
their investments in their workforce,
Mm-hmm.
those are things that shouldn't be overlooked.
It's about finding that balance, recognizing that to be truly successful, a company needs to think beyond just the bottom line.
But let's be realistic, their path forward isn't going to be without challenges.
Of course.
There are those geopolitical uncertainties we discussed,
Mm.
the rising costs of innovation,
Yeah.
the constant potential for disruption. Those are all factors that could impact their future.
Of course. It would be naive to think any company, even one as successful as TSMC, is immune to these forces. But that brings us to a final thought-provoking question for you, our listener.
Right, lay it on us.
Mm-hmm.
What's the question that's going to keep us up all night?
As AI becomes increasingly integrated into every aspect of our lives,
Mm-hmm.
how do you envision the balance of power shifting between the companies that design these powerful chips
Right.
and the companies like TSMC that actually manufacture them?
Ooh, that's a good one. It really makes you think about the dynamics of the entire tech ecosystem. Will TSMC's role become even more crucial?
Yeah.
Or will we see a shift towards companies trying to control both the design and the manufacturing processes?
Exactly. It's like predicting the evolution of a complex ecosystem with all its intricate dependencies and potential for disruption. We don't have a crystal ball,
Right.
but it's a question worth pondering.
Absolutely. Well, on that note, I think it's time to wrap up our deep dive into the fascinating world of TSMC.
It's been a pleasure exploring their story, and I hope our listener has gained some valuable insights.
To our listener, keep digging, keep exploring, and keep asking those tough questions. The world of tech is full of amazing stories and innovations just waiting to be discovered.
Until next time, stay curious.